Welcome to the Creative Content Club podcast with me, Naomi Rose. If you are a business owner who wants to consistently create content that connects and converts into clients, this is the podcast for you. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Let's get right into it. Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Creative Content Club podcast with me, Naomi Rose. I love all things to do with content, marketing, strategy. That is my thing. And I am going to be talking to you today about how to be visible without being online 24/7. I don't know about you, but sometimes it feels like whenever I go onto Instagram or Facebook, it feels that there are certain people that are there all the time. They just seem to be present. They seem to be nailing it with their content. And I feel like I'm running behind. It feels like I'm trying to keep up and be in the limelight, yet somehow I just can't. There is not enough time. There is not enough hours in the day to actually do the business as well as stay visible. Thankfully for me, I am a content marketing strategist, so a lot of my day job revolves around content, but I know what that feels like. I have been doing businesses for 7 years now. In the cafe, bar and bakery, I actually had people come in and do content for me. I didn't have time to do it. I was running a business. It was my area of expertise. I would have loved to have done it most of the time. I did not have that capacity. I had to be realistic with my time. You don't actually have to be online all the time. It's about finding ways that keeps your business front of mind, keeps you present in the eyes of the right people that you want to work with. That's the crucial bit, is finding those techniques and tricks that will keep you visible, keep you showing up consistently without having to be online all the time. It's just not possible. It's not realistic. And that's what I'm here to tell you about today. How to be visible and stay online 24/7 without actually being online 24/7. By the way, before I give you my 5 suggestions, if you haven't already, do go and check out my content quiz. So if you find that your content isn't really connecting with your ideal clients, you feel like you're not getting the conversion, you're not actually seeing the results you want from the content you're creating, go and take my free quiz to find out exactly what's going on. You'll get a personalized response to your answers. So you'll get some suggestions on what you can do next as your next action to help improve that conversion rate in terms of your content. But what you'll also get, which I think is going to really, really help you, is my content planner that will show you exactly how to plan 30 days of content in 20 minutes. Yep, I promise you, it will take you 20 minutes to get it mapped out. It doesn't have to be a really long and arduous plan. It's about keeping it simple, keeping it straightforward and making it easy so we can stay committed, stay consistent rather than constant. Okay, on that note, I am going to tell you about ways to build that visibility without being online 24/7. The first thing I'm going to talk to you about is the world of search engines. Don't switch off, I promise you. This is a really super easy way that you can help your business stay visible without having to churn out many, many blogs, without having to keep thinking of new content to write all the time, without having to actually be creating constantly. This is about thinking about the problems and the pain points and the solutions that your ideal clients want. Put yourself in their seat, sit in their shoes, wear their shoes. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I meant. Put yourself into the way that they're seeing the world. And what would they actually type into Google when they're trying to solve the problem that you can help them with? Think about what those words are that they use. What would they actually Google? If you're not actually sure, there's a brilliant tool called Answer the Public. But also what you can do is start to type some of the words that people might search for into Google, and you'll get a list of the most commonly searched for terms coming up. So go and try that. But if you write one really solid bit of content that includes some of those problems that people are looking for the answers for, that has those keywords that people would search for. So when I say keywords, that's the words that we would type into Google to solve our problem. And put that somewhere like on your website somewhere. And then you can share it on your socials. You could also put it on YouTube because that will help with getting found in search. But put it there, then what that will do is every time someone searches for something similar, the more people will search for it, the more likely you are to get found. So sometimes it's the content that has been online for a while that gets more visibility than stuff that is brand new. It's about building that authority within the search engines that helps your ideal clients. So you don't have to do lots, but you just have to be a bit strategic in thinking about what will my ideal clients really want help with, and giving them the answers to that, because they will find you first. The second one, I have throughout my career been asked more than one occasion to make stuff go viral, and it's always annoyed me. I'm like, I'm not going to lie, I'm good at what I do, but making things automatically go viral, it doesn't work like that. And also, I'm not a fan of things going viral. I will say I don't think it's beneficial in any way, shape, or form sometimes, because what you do is you become that one-hit wonder. You get visibility through that trend, and that's it. It doesn't really do anything for your business. It doesn't really do anything to connect with your clients other than maybe talk about what they're talking about. That Chat GPT doll phase, whatever that was, I just let that pass me by. I found it a bit creepy, if I'm honest. It's not my cup of tea at all. But generally, I do not jump on trends unless there's a really good opportunity that absolutely speaks to my ideal clients. Otherwise, I don't. I would much rather create solid bits of what I call the evergreen content that continues to be the gifts that give. So that could be putting something on YouTube that talks about how to use AI to create content. It could be doing a video on TikTok that again uses those keywords that I talked about in the previous point. Evergreen content is stuff that is your bread and butter. It is exactly what your ideal clients will find you for and you will become known for. That's what I'm talking about in terms of evergreen content. It's the stuff that we repeat over and over and over and over again. If you've listened to some of the episodes on this podcast already, you know I talk a lot about repetition. I'm going to tell you this pretty much on every single episode, so get used to it. Sit down, get used to it, and say the words with me. But repetition builds reputation, that builds people's knowledge and confidence in what you do. It also gets you known for something. You might feel like you need to chop and change everything, but that just creates inconsistency with our ideal clients. So when you are creating content, focus on the evergreen stuff. If you go through any of my posts, I often use the same words over and over again in slightly different ways. I will put a call to action that asks for the same thing. And they're the ones that get responses. They're the ones that get people taking action because it's that consistency. They can see clearly what I'm asking them to do, and that consistency is what they're looking for. The third point. Now, you'll be surprised if I didn't say this one in terms of how to build visibility without being online 24/7. It's planning. Planning and scheduling. Two of my favourite things that I believe everyone should be doing. I know there's a lot of people that say, oh, yeah, let's take messy action. Great if that works for you. I'm not a fan of messy action. I'm a fan of opportunities and going for it. But what I'm not a fan of is winging it, hoping it will work. I've done that in business before. Um, if you have been around at the start of my very first business, you know that I spent most of my time flying by the seat of my pants. I had absolutely no idea half the time what I was doing when I opened the cafe, bar and bakery. Honestly, the imposter syndrome's through the roof. But one thing I could do was plan and schedule my content so I stayed visible in the eyes of my ideal customers consistently. And that's what we want to go for, is that consistency that builds that reputation. Go take my quiz and download that 20-minute planner. Get your month's worth of content planned out by the end of the day. And bingo, you are showing up consistently for your ideal clients with content that's going to speak to them without having to feel like, oh my gosh, I haven't done social today, or I haven't put an email out. It's about building that framework that you can stick to that is right for you and your business and your ideal clients. So your plan might be to post on social 3 days a week because that's what works for you. I post different amounts of times during the weeks on different social media channels because that's what's right for me. I send out different amounts of emails compared to other people because that's what works for my ideal clients. It's about being realistic on what you can do in the time you have that works for your ideal clients. I'd rather you did one post a week and one email a week if that keeps you consistent than doing 3 one week and none the next. Be consistent, show up regularly. It shows your reliability with your ideal clients. My fourth way to stay visible without being online 24/7 is the power of automation. So it's kind of a little bit in line with the previous point. But automation, and there's so many ways to automate. There's even like I mentioned AI. AI can help you plan. It can help you really schedule it. I don't recommend necessarily using AI to create all your content. Use it for drafts and ideas. Make it do the legwork for you, but tweak it so it's in your own personality and tone of voice and sounds like you. Also, if you're posting, like asking it to create content for social, I will just point out that the algorithms will recognize it's in AI and deprioritize your content so it doesn't get to your ideal clients. So be really mindful of that. But what you can do with automation is it can make you efficient on the admin heavy tasks. And that could be anything from setting up email welcome sequences, setting up auto responses to people that reply to your messages, using tools like ManyChat for being able to respond to people that want to download your lead magnet. Take the legwork out of doing the stuff yourself. Have a look at all those little tasks that you're doing that are taking up time, you're trying to stay visible. What is taking up that time to do it? If it is setting up Canva templates, for instance, so that you've got regular posts, either get someone to do it for you, spend half a day doing some templates yourself, and create a whole batch of content. Make your time easier. Your time is valuable. You need to prioritize the activities that will make you the money and stop wasting your time on stuff that you don't need to necessarily do. Think about what it is that you can automate. There are so many different ways you can automate. I have always been a big fan of automation. The other great thing about automation is that from a customer and client perspective, you are not the hold up in them understanding the next steps and the communications. You can put all of those communications in place so that there is a real clear understanding of what they are going to get. I have everything automated now, so people know when they sign up to something or they book a session to work with me, they will get automations of what happens next. They will then get an email sent out with details of the next steps they need to take. I will then put systems in place that automatically communicates with them with the right stuff so that they know that they are going to get a good service, that they are going to get things reliable. Reliable? No, that's not the right sentence, but you get what I mean. You get where I'm going with that. If you think about your own buying experience, and again, I'm not going to go into the emotional states of buying today, but one of the things we want to avoid with our ideal clients is when they actually do click on that social media post or click on that email to buy with us, and they go to buy, they go, yep, I'm on it. What we don't want them to do is get that buyer's remorse where they kind of doubt themselves. It's not necessarily what you're offering, it's their own self-doubt about whether they'll be able to achieve it or not. So putting all of those automations in place really builds their trust, really builds them up so they're excited about working with you. All of those little details will really absolutely help with making life easier when it comes to being visible 24/7. And when we're talking about, just to add on that point, being visible 24/7 isn't necessarily being out there in the world, being on the TV. It's all of those little touches that not everybody sees, but those little details that your clients see. That's what they're looking for, and that's what we can easily give them with automation. My final point about 5 ways to stay visible without being online all the time is be rememberable, not just visible. This is all about being you, showing up as you, not some AI generated generic content, not the version of content that you think your ideal clients want to hear. They want to see you. They want to hear from you. They want to understand your personality, what makes you tick, and that what you have to say will connect with them. That will be what makes you front of mind without having to be online all the time. They'll remember those tiny details. They'll want to talk about you to their friends in a positive way. They will get to know you, your personality, and understand what makes you tick, because that's what's the real thing that's going to connect with them. So sometimes it's not necessarily about being online all the time. It's about telling those stories that people want to tell on your behalf, that they want to share with people, that feels like they know you. But more importantly, that speaks directly to them. So they feel like you know exactly what they're going through. They feel like they're seen and heard. That's what we're all trying to do when we connect with people, when we are looking to work with someone. We want to feel like they get us, they understand us, they know that they can get us results, and we can trust that they will do that because they understand us. So it's about telling the stories that you think would resonate with your ideal clients. It's about getting to know those bits of your personality that they will really connect with, that they will really feel like they get to know you. You don't have to give them your whole entire life story. No one's got time to listen to that necessarily. It's those little nuggets, those little things that make you you, that is super important. I put a post out the other day that was talking about me being dyslexic, and I don't talk very often about dyslexia. It's something that I've actually shied away from. In fact, in most of my jobs that I've applied for in the past, I've actually not told any of my employers that I'm dyslexic. Not because I'm ashamed of it or anything like that, but because I don't want them to feel like I can't do my job, because my jobs have all been in marketing and involve a certain amount of copywriting, which I love to do. I have found ways to balance that, and I don't really talk about that much. But I've been putting out more content that talks a little bit more openly about it. It's something that I am slightly uncomfortable with, but so many people are really connecting with that. So many people are sharing some of their experiences of being dyslexic. They're not judging me because I'm dyslexic and thinking, oh, she's dyslexic. Who does she think she is for creating content? Yes, there will be spelling mistakes all over the place. My grammar will be all over the place. I miss out words constantly. You shouldn't even see my handwriting. It is a state. That's not what people are seeing. And that was always my fear, that people would see the mistakes I make. That's not what they're seeing. In fact, what they are seeing and telling me about is their own experiences with dyslexia. So really quick, just to summarize, how to stay visible without being online 24/7. Create one bit of content that gets found in search, that uses the keywords your ideal clients would search for. Use evergreen content. Evergreen content is going to be your best friend from now on. Plan your content and schedule it. Automate everything as much as you possibly can, and be rememberable, not just visible. So do those 5 things, and that will really help you to stay in front of mind in front of your ideal clients. Thank you everybody so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I'll be back again next week with another Creative Content Club podcast episode. I'd love for you to tune in. In the meantime, don't forget to take that quiz and get your free content planner. And I'll see you again soon. Thank you for listening to the Creative Content Club podcast with me, Naomi Rose. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this podcast a review. If this episode gave you clarity or sparked a new idea, I'd really appreciate it if you could share it with someone else who would find it useful. If you haven't already, give me a follow on Instagram and come and connect with me on LinkedIn. And finally, don't forget to check out the show notes to take my quiz to find out exactly why your content isn't converting into clients. Thanks again for listening, and I'll be back again next week with another episode.